Well, folks, good day to you, one and all, and welcome to yet another round of that which we love to do. We're at Spa-Francorchamps. We're with the GTEs. It's season number 12. And wow, what an amazing season it's been so far. Round number 5. We're into the qualifying session, and the track that we are at is the iconic, forever iconic. Look at that. Look at the names of those corners. The Source, Our Rouge, Radiar, Kemmel Straight, Lake Calm, Malmedy, Speaker's Corner, Brussels, Gaucher, Lafar, Campus, Stavelot. I mean, if you don't know those names, you've never been involved in motorsport in your life before. It's going to be amazing stuff. Seriously looking forward to it. And I hope you guys are going to enjoy it with us as well. So let's have a look at who is in fact out there on circuit right now as they are busy doing their warm-up lap, if you want to call it that. The likes of Michael North, Herman Lazarus, Yaz Samai, Johan Engelbrecht. He's doing very well recently. Robert Briggs, he was looking pretty good in the practice session. Timothy Stanton, he was in the top 5 with the practice, so you can expect him to be up there again. The likes of Johan Furey, the man that cleaned up last week. Stephen McCarthy, the Sujin Properties entry, one of the top BMWs. Sergio Mafia, our new man. Gerald Maget in the 99, he loves his Gulfstream colors. JJ Vandermeer in the Fanatec entry, and that is the Ford GT40. Don't be surprised if he's pretty quick out there. He's looked very, very good, and he's done a lot of practicing during the course of the week. And in fact, JJ Vandermeer is the first man that puts the time up. Timothy Stanton goes immediately to the top end of the log. Willem Botha on his first flying lap, the Toyota coloring and livery on that BMW of his. Johan Furey, the third fastest man out there so far. He's gone into the pits. JJ Vandermeer in the top 5. Robert Briggs is there as well. He's in the BMW. Yet another BMW that is in the top 5. Leon van Wyk in the Being IT entry, a man that's doing a lot in the background to help us in season number 12 is Leon van Wyk. Graham Stephen loves his Marlboro sign writing. He's also in the BMW. The Ford of Michael in the BMW of Graham. Yaz Samai once again in the top 12. Yaz Samai is really coming strong. I think he likes the more powerful, quicker cars out there. Stephen McCarthy rounds out the top 10. Peter van der Spey, that's been sick recently and hasn't exactly had a lot of practice at all, but he's put together a pretty decent first lap out there, so he's digging deep. Herman Lazarus, Gerald Maget has got moved just a little bit further down now. People that have not yet got a clean lap in. Now, Sandra Bakari, that's going to be an interesting one because Sandra Bakari needs to beat out on Peter van der Spey. The rest is for the boys and the excitement thereof, but the championship for the Grand Masters goes between the likes of Peter van der Spey and Sandra Bakari, and both of them have missed out one round so far for this season 12. Can you believe it? Timothy Stanton provisionally on the front row of the grid as he goes through the last 2 corners. Some serious... JJ Vandermeer goes to the front. Can you believe it? JJ Vandermeer. There comes Timothy Stanton. Willem Botha. Just a couple of hundreds in the Toyota liveried BMW. Johan Furey so far has only made it onto the second row of the grid, but he is coming up now towards the last corner as well. So don't be surprised if he knocks himself just a little bit higher up towards the front row of the grid. Can Johan Furey go to the front row of the grid? 7.5 minutes in. Johan Furey was 4 tenths off that couldn't have been a clean lap because it doesn't show that time for him at all. So Johan Fourie is going to stretch his legs just a little. Robert Briggs finds himself back into the top 5 in the Motul colors. BMW. So 2 Fords up front, then 3 BMWs. We have been told that the Ferraris are a smidgen lighter on fuel than what the other cars are. So they'll make up a little bit in terms of pit times, but will that be enough? Initially, Peter van der Spy finds himself just a little bit 4/10 ahead of Sandro Bakari, but Sandro Bakari up until just before the qualifying was quicker than Peter van der Spy. So Peter van der Spy has dug very deep to get himself ahead of Sandro Bakari provisionally with 8 minutes 25 gone in this qualifying. We are having a look at Sandro Bakari, second fastest qualifier, 12th overall. Second is the Grand Masters division as he works his way through Le Phare down towards campus. Carry as much speed through campus as you can. Now it's flat foot all the way through Stavelot. Just carry it all the way and just keep your foot down flat. Don't lift whatsoever. Keep on trucking through Blanchimont. Got to start very wide, end very wide, not lift off at all. Flat foot in 6th gear, up towards the chicane he goes. Sandro Bakari, very late and too deep, and that's going to cost him. The opportunity to get ahead of Peter van der Spy on the grid has probably been dusted by that. He was just too deep going into the corner. Will come through underneath the bridge, and nope, it's not going to be enough. That was not what he needed. There is enough time, 2 minutes 12. Yep, he can just make one more lap. Can Sandro Bakari. So at the moment, JJ van der Merwe, wow, brilliant stuff. JJ van der Merwe and Timothy Stanton, the new kids on the block, are starting to take the fight to the old hands. Willem Botha provisionally alongside Robert Briggs. He owes himself a good one. The last 2 has been there and thereabouts, but he hasn't been right up front and up top as what he likes to be and is accustomed to being, in fact. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can go any further forward. Johan Fourie. Let's get a track map up where we can see exactly where they are. Are they going to make it to complete yet another lap? 1.5 minutes. Yep, he'll be able to get through another lap. Will Johan Fourie? Is Johan Fourie going to find 4/10 and some more to be able to get himself up into P1 pole position? It is possible, but it is a big ask. Remember the likes of Leon van Wyk is out there as well. He's just 3/10 off the back end of Johan Fourie. And then we haven't even spoken about the likes of Michael Steven. Michael Steven deciding no stickers on the side. Make it nice and smooth. Make it faster. Michael Steven works his way through just behind Graham. Only 3/10 between them. JJ van der Merwe has come into pit lane, so he's finished. What will Timothy Stanton do? Timothy Stanton comes across the line. Does he get to go any quicker? Nope, he stays 2/10 off. Willem Botha, whereabouts is Willem Botha? Here comes Willem Botha up towards the line. His last chance to maybe get onto the front row of the grid. Nope, it's not going to be for Willem Botha. Here comes Robert Briggs. Remember, Johan Fourie is on a flyer. Johan Fourie could still turn this upside down. Provisionally right now, Robert Briggs on the second row of the grid on the outside. Nope, he knows he's not going to make it. What about Johan Fourie? There comes Johan Fourie. And he doesn't go any quicker. Johan Fourie stays in 5th position. He just came across the line in time. There was touch and go for him to be able to get through there in time. So let's have a look and see what that grid is going to look like. JJ van der Merwe and Timothy Stanton. Congratulations, well done. You beat out on the likes of Willem Botha, Robert Briggs, Johan Fourie, Leon van Wyk, Michael and Graham Stevens, Stephen McCarthy and Yasamai both inside of the top 10. Herculean effort that went in there by Peter van der Spy to stay ahead of the likes of Sandro Bakari and Herman Lazarus, Gerald Maget, our new man, fairly much new man, Michael North with Leonardo Bakari, and our new man out there, Sergio Mafia. A total of 18 cars that's out there on the grid. For those of you that have arrived late, that is where we are. Sports and GT round number 5, season number 12, coming to you from Spa-Francorchamps, and we are in GTEs as opposed to the very popular GT3s that a lot of people like to use for this form of motorsport. It's going to be good stuff, there's no doubt about it. There's the circuit that we're going to be on. Don't you just love that track, Spa-Francorchamps? The history of Spa-Francorchamps is utterly amazing, and I think I must actually do something on the second gear live. Look at that on the front row of the grid. JJ van der Merwe, Timothy Stanton, Willem Botha and Robert Briggs. Johan Fourie there in the monster car alongside him. Leon van Wyk in the Being IT. Then the black and the Marlboro alongside that. That is the Stevens brothers, Michael and Graham. Just behind that, standing there by himself, is Stephen McCarthy. The red one that's just come up alongside him, that is Yaz Samai. On the next row behind that is Peter van der Spy and Johan Engelbrecht. I see Johan Engelbrecht is in as a master, not a grandmaster, but I'm pretty sure that he should actually be in the grandmasters because I'm pretty sure he's over 60. Sandro Bakari, you see him out there as well, with the likes of Gerald Maget, Michael North, Sergio Mafia and Leonardo Bakari that are bringing up the tail end of the field as the front end of the pack works its way around. The calm before the storm. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant quality by JJ van der Merwe and Timothy Stanton. But can they absorb the pressure starting at the front end of the pack? The likes of Willem Botha and Robert Briggs won't hang around whatsoever. They won't take any prisoners. And then Leon van Wyk and Johan Fourie, they will expect to get to the front end of the field. Not like to, they would expect to be there. Then directly behind them, they've got to get a hoof on as well because they've got Michael and Graham Stephen in there behind them. Then you got the likes of Yaz Samai and Stephen McCarthy. If you're going to make mistakes, they're going to take your positions away quite happily and keep it on the island and force you to ride 11 tenths to try and get back at them. Johan Engelbrecht once again doing a very good quali, finds himself just outside of the top 10, but recently Johan Engelbrecht has just been getting closer and closer to the front end of the field. I think he's been doing a little bit more practicing than what he used to do in the past, and you can see it in the lap times that he's putting up, which is getting closer and closer to the fastest guys that's out there. So Johan Fourie not going to have it all his own way. Let's hope that the Stanton and Fanatec entries are going to be all good when the pressure is on. Here they come up towards us now. They'll wait for the lights to change. The lights go green and away they go. Everybody spreads out as they work their way down in towards turn number 1. Look at that. 4 abreast. Briggs is right in there where it counts, and the Marlboro cars. Oh, Timothy Stanton has gone. Briggs has gone as well. That's a big, big pity for them. Let's go back to the front end of the field. It's Willem Botha, it's Leon van Wyk, it's Michael Stephen. It's Johan Fourie that stayed out of the melee and the mayhem. It's Stephen McCarthy. Sandro Bakari has gotten through and he's all over the back end of McCarthy in the Sky entry. In there behind that is his brother. It is Leonardo Bakari. Then it's Gerald Mazzei. Sergio Mafia stayed out of the problems as well. JJ van der Merwe, who was also originally on the front row of the grid, finds himself now right down into the mid-pack as the leaders work their way through. Willem Botha at the front end of the field, and it's Leon that's having a go there. Michael Stephen dives up on the inside line. It was Graham that was involved in the incident with the Marlboro car. The two of them now side by side. Michael Stephen and Leon van Wyk. They'll make sure that they don't make any contact with one another. Right in there behind them is Johan Fourie. You make contact, you slow one another down. Johan Fourie is going to be right in there. We're right on board with Johan Fourie. And Sandro Bakari's got himself up into that 5th position. That is utterly amazing stuff for Sandro Bakari. And Peter van der Spey is a long way further back. He's held on to the position that he was. Willem Botha's gone up 2. Michael Steven has gone up 5 positions. Started in 7th up to 2nd. Leon van Wyk has gone up 1. Johan Fourie that we're riding on board with has gone up 1 as well. Sandro Bakari was the first of the survivors that got through the little melee that there was there in turn number 1, and for that reason he's gone up 8 positions, which is utterly brilliant. Jan Engelbrecht, Jasumai, Graham Stephen, Michael North, and Timothy Stanton and JJ van der Merwe. That's the people that were all badly affected as they come to finish off on lap number 1. We ride on board with Johan Fourie as he works his way across the line to end lap number 1, riding with the cockpit camera. It gives you runs it very well. And he gets it completely sideways. That was Willem Botha. Willem Botha got it completely sideways. He was just too quick on the gas. You gotta be so smooth with these cars. There's just so much power in these GTEs. So the BIT entry of Leon van Wyk leads out from Johan Fourie. That is the way that they come over the hill. Then it's Sandro Bakari. It survived everything. Michael Stevens, Stephen McCarthy, Gerald Majay, Leonardo Bakari. That's where that big fight is. Look at that. Leonardo Bakari is having, there's a battle at the back. I think it was Michael North or Sergio Mafia that has gone off. I think it's probably Sergio. Yup, it's Sergio that's gone off there in the background. Making a recovery is JJ van der Merwe. He's onto the back of Leonardo Bakari. He's got a bit of a gap between himself. He's got Peter van der Spey there behind him, ahead of Robert Briggs. That's making that massive recovery as well. Robert Briggs is going to try the cutback. I don't think he'll be able to do that. Peter van der Spey keeps it dead smack bang center. Timothy Stanton is a little bit further back as well. So let's see if we can, let's see Willem Botha's spin. Yep, unfortunately the cameras only picked that up. Let's see if we can pick it up a little bit earlier. Yep, that's where he went into the barrier. That was Willem Botha, and then the actual Willem Botha spin out. I didn't want to show us that one, unfortunately. So there we go. That is what happened with that one. They just crossed one another's lines, and he came back onto the circuit, and then he had to wait for everybody to come through, and that is what cost him. That's Robert Briggs that's coming through. Nowhere to go, and plows into Willem Botha as well. Let's go back to the front end of the field. It is Leon van Wyk coming through to complete yet another lap. Johan Fourie in there behind him. Brilliant Sandro Bakari. Michael Steven, who stayed out of all the trouble. Then it is Stephen McCarthy, Gerald Majay, JJ van der Merwe ahead of Robert Briggs. JJ van der Merwe on a massive fight back. JJ van der Merwe is having a brilliant race. He is super duper quick on this circuit. Whatever he had for breakfast, I want some of that as well, because it's worked out very well for him. Robert Briggs finds himself 10 seconds further back, and then Timothy Stanton another 11. So JJ van der Merwe, that started on the front row of the grid, that's recovered up to 7th position, finds himself 21 seconds ahead of Timothy Stanton, that was in that lead battle with him as well. Let's go and have a look at the intervals as such. There you can see the intervals. It's very close. Leon van Wyk. Johan Fourie has just gone past Leon van Wyk. Johan Fourie has actually gone through to the front. Let's see exactly how that passing maneuver went. Yeah, he just got good drive out of the corner. Kept on trucking, did Johan Fourie. And there was no way around that one. Now, that was up the Kemmel Straight that one actually happened. So going back to the real deal, we're on board with Leon van Wyk. That is Johan Fourie in the monster entry. That's right there in front of him. He's all over the back end of Johan Fourie. Johan Fourie not getting away whatsoever. Staying right there with him as they work their way through into Campos. Down the little hill, through Stavelot. Now you just keep the foot down. 6,700 up to 5th gear. 6.4, 6.5, 6.6, 6.7. Back to 5,900, 6th gear, that's top end, flat foot, 6,200 RPM, getting to 6,300, carries it through there brilliantly. Will he go for the dive? Johan Ferrie's not going to open up that line for him. Or hard on the brakes in there behind Johan Ferrie. Apexes it pretty well. Johan Ferrie doesn't want to get into that fight. Johan Ferrie dives into the pits. He said he's not going to get involved with that one. So Johan Ferrie has gone in. Looking back from Leon van Wyk, it looks beautiful. He's got more than 3 seconds as he works his way through turn number 1. There comes Sandro Bakari, who locks it up slightly. Then there's Michael Steven. There comes Stephen McCarthy. Then it's going to be Gerald Maget stayed out of the trouble. And then we've got Robert Briggs from Timothy Stanton. That's the next two that's coming through there on their way down Eau Rouge. They just come flying down the hill through Radion. Oh, it's a swapping position. Briggs goes to the inside. And it was Timothy Stanton that was. Timothy Stanton's on a massive fight back. Timothy Stanton is flying. Timothy Stanton is on his way back towards the front end of the field. That is utterly brilliant drive by Timothy Stanton. Well, let's have a look. See, Yas Samai is into the pits. So is Sergio Mafia. Willem Botha, is he still running? Yes, Willem Botha is. But Willem Botha has been in and out of the pits already. The biggest fight night now is, in fact, Robert Briggs and Timothy Stanton. Robert Briggs and Timothy Stanton, nothing much between the two of them. Both of them in behind. Gerald Maget will be loving the fact that he's in that 5th position. 10 positions up, qualified 15th. You guys make mistakes, I'll take advantage of it. That's exactly what Gerald Maget has done, and I really hope for his sake that he doesn't make any errors. Forces the guys to come and fetch him, forces them a long way around the outside. See Johan Engelbrecht there in the background, not far behind that, as we keep an eye on Timothy Stanton all over the back end of Gerald Maget. He brings with him the high flying. Oh, Timothy Stanton, has he got an extra gear in that motor car? Because somehow he's got blinding pace. There's Timothy Stanton. He's back up into that 5th position. That's utterly amazing. Gerald Maget runs it a bit wide. Robert Briggs is going to put the pressure on now. Which side does Maget go? Does he try and close that spot down? Well, brilliant driving there by Briggs. And Briggs, in fact, with the slight mistake by Stanton. Not a major. Maget goes into the pits. Not a major, just a smidgen. And Robert Briggs now tries to hold on to the back end of Timothy Stanton. In the meantime, Michael Steven has closed down on Sandro Bakari. That's having the drive of his life. Is Sandro Bakari. He finds himself in that 3rd position, albeit he has not been in and out of the pits. And he stayed out of the trouble as well. Michael Steven's got the drive on him. Michael Steven up the Kemmel Straight, going down towards Lake Calm. It looks like one car. They're so close to one another. Will he be able to do it now? And he's now going to be on the outside of the corner and just playing a little bit safe. There is Sandro Bakari. He knows he's got a big gap and he's still got 2.9 seconds to the man behind him, which is Stephen McCarthy. Behind Stephen McCarthy, they flying very quick Timothy Stanton, Robert Briggs. Then it's Herman Lazarus. Then it's Johan Engelbrecht, who's also stayed out of the trouble, and he started in 12th. He's gone up 4 positions. That is amazing stuff. Let's see who has been in and out of the pit so far. The leading man is, in fact, JJ van der Merwe, ahead of Peter van der Spey, Gerald Maget, and Michael North. But having said that, what about the likes of Johan Ferrie? Can Johan Ferrie close in? Johan Ferrie 6 seconds behind Michael North, another second behind Gerald Maget, another 3 behind Peter van der Spey, and only then will you get to JJ van der Merwe. And keep in mind that JJ van der Merwe did actually out-qualify Johan Ferrie as well. So given the pace that they're on, Johan Ferrie's got a massive hill to climb. But we know the resourcefulness of Johan Ferrie. Somehow, when the push comes to shove, he gets himself to the front end of the field. And Robert Briggs trying to hold on to the back of Timothy Stanton. Let's have a look at the last times that they actually put up. Timothy Stanton, the fastest man out there, a 2 minute 13.904. No wonder Timothy Stanton is coming to, let's get a picture of him there. That's Timothy Stanton. That is why he's coming through the pack so fast. A 2 minute 14 point dead. Well, he's putting in very consistent times. Johan Engelbrecht has now gone into the pit lane on a 2 minute 14.00. He was the fastest man on the last lap out there, Timothy Stanton. He's 1.8 seconds at the beginning of this lap behind Stephen McCarthy. If you take it as a 1.1 second between the two of them, if Stephen McCarthy holds on at the pace he is right now, Stephen McCarthy will still be ahead at the end of this lap, but only by a smidgen. Johan Engelbrecht on his way out of the pit lane. He's going to work his way out. He'll come out just behind Johan Fourie. Johan Fourie that has already gone past. There is Johan Fourie. And Johan Fourie finds himself 9 seconds off the back end of Gerald Maget. So remember that one, and it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays itself out. Let's go back to the front end of the field. We're 12.5 minutes into this 25. Peter van der Spy behind JJ van der Merwe. And in fact, Peter van der Spy is all over the back end of JJ van der Merwe. Let's drive on board with Peter van der Spy. Oh, JJ's gone wide. Something went wrong with JJ van der Merwe. How did that one play itself out? Oh, JJ was going slow. JJ van der Merwe slowed right down. He was in fact passed by Peter van der Spy with the greatest of ease. He didn't even fight that one. Maybe there's something wrong with that motor car, because Peter van der Spy is actually just getting away from him now as well. That's very strange stuff. Let's have a look at the last lap times. What was the lap time of JJ? A 2 minutes 17. Yes, that is notably slower. Is JJ van der Merwe at the moment now than the fastest man out there, Timothy Stanton. They just did a 2 minute 14. Let's have a look at the pit stops, the way they are at this stage of the fight. Peter van der Spy looking good, apart from the guys that have not been in and out of the pits. A 2 minute 14.5, so a little bit slower by Timothy Stanton by half a second. Painting black stripes as he comes out of turn number 1 was Timothy Stanton. Yas Samai finds himself at the back end of the pack. Willem Botha also completely out of it. And Willem Botha did not have a good start to this race at all. Let me see if I can pick up for you that Willem Botha crash. There Willem Botha going very, very slow, and that was part of the reason why he found himself so far back. He actually stopped on the side of the circuit. He did have an incident before that. There you can see that incident that he had. So Willem Botha has not had a great time at all in this specific race. Gets himself out of shape, and then everybody just comes piling past him. So Willem Botha, that started off so well, finds himself dropping quite a long way back at this stage of the fight. As we go back to the live, and the man up front is in fact Leon van Wyk. A brilliant drive by Leon van Wyk. 7 seconds ahead of Michael Steven, who's just ahead of Sandro Bakari, who's just ahead of Stephen McCarthy. And Timothy Stanton has got it down to a second. Timothy Stanton on the back end of Stephen McCarthy. He's got 1.6 seconds that he's driven away from Robert Briggs, but Robert Briggs is pretty much holding on at this stage of the fight. Nothing too much between the two of them in terms of pace. JJ van der Merwe on the fight back. JJ van der Merwe looks like he's got it back up to speed again. So, into the pit lane comes Leon van Wyk. Leon van Wyk into the pit lane. What does Michael Steven do? Michael Steven dives in as well. Sandro Bakari comes in behind Sandro Bakari. Steve McCarthy in there behind. That is Timothy Stanton. What about, they're all piling in. What about Herman Lazarus? There was an incident. I just saw an incident. He got it completely locked up and sideways there. Timothy Stanton just trying to get in and out as quick as what he possibly could. Here comes Graham Stephen. Does Graham Stephen decide to go into the pits as well? Yes, he does. So the man that leads them at this stage of the fight, Robert Briggs, has gone straight through. Herman Lazarus has gone straight through as well. And then Leon van Wyk is the next man. So Leon van Wyk is in fact in the Being IT entry, the leading man in and out of the pits, apart from Michael Stephen. That's the next man coming through behind him. Brilliant. Sandro Bakari ahead of the recovering Timothy Stanton. Leonardo just behind that. Leonardo still has to go in. Then we have Stephen McCarthy. Peter van der Spey needs to get to Leonardo Bakari and not have Leonardo Bakari between himself and Sandro. Otherwise, Sandro's going to jinx him big on this one. JJ's back up to pace again. JJ van der Merwe is going to follow through on Peter van der Spey. Peter dives towards the inside, forces JJ towards the outside, and he just goes flying around the outside. Just almost outbreaks himself and manages to hold it all together. So a very hard driving JJ van der Merwe in this one. The only two people that have not stopped yet is the man up front, which is Robert Briggs. 4.5 seconds behind him comes Herman Lazarus. Herman's had a pretty good run. Herman Lazarus has had a pretty good run. The man from Authentic Autos, originally cheapercars.co.za, and there comes Leon van Wyk. Leon van Wyk's within 2 seconds. Now, Leon van Wyk must be pretty confident right now because he's got 10 seconds on Michael Stephen. Leon van Wyk to Michael Stephen. So Leon van Wyk is in fact the lead man in and out of the pits. Robert Briggs and Herman Lazarus still to go. So there is Leon van Wyk. We'll try and pick up a long shot. We see if we can get both of them into the same shot for you. The lead man in the Being IT entry. Into the pit lane goes Robert Briggs and Herman Lazarus. Robert Briggs is into the pits. There comes Robert Briggs. Herman Lazarus into the pits as well. The two of them need to get out as quick as what they can. Leon van Wyk has already gone past the pit lane. Here comes Michael Stephen. Michael Stephen coming through, and he brings with him Sandro Bakari. Still in the pits is Robert Briggs. And Herman Lazarus. On his way out is Robert Briggs. But can he hold off the likes of Timothy Stanton? Timothy Stanton is going to be up to pace already. There goes Robert Briggs. Can he stay ahead of Timothy? Will get good drive coming out of the corner. Yes, I think it's going to stay in that order. So that means everybody has been in and out of the pits. So pit stops no longer play any part of this whatsoever. Leon van Wyk is on his way out now. Is Leonardo Bakari. Herman Lazarus is in fact still in the pits. So Leon van Wyk is the man that leads them out. That Chevy's doing everything. I think it's a Chevy Corvette that in fact he's doing all. Woo, he's on the edge. 10 seconds further back is Michael Stephen. Then it's Sandro Bakari, third overall and leading the Grandmasters 10 positions up. A masterclass in how to ensure that you stay out of the trouble and just keep it trucking, because if you can do that, that is what it's all about. To be able to stay out of the trouble. And Leon van Wyk, well, what a brilliant piece of driving by him. I'd like to actually have a chat with Leon, but we're going to have to wait until he gets into a straighter piece of track. There comes Leon van Wyk now. As Leon van Wyk makes his way out into that high-speed section. Leon van Wyk, brilliant drive, 10 seconds ahead of Michael Stephen. Looking good with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, just trying to keep it clean. I think had some luck in the beginning, out of a lot of it. Only one in the Corvette, but I'm trying to make it happen.
Awesome stuff. JJ van der Merwe not working out the way that you want, but back up into that 8th position, all over the back of Peter van der Spey. A bit of bad luck after a brilliant qualifying.
Yeah, I got tagged on the first corner. I think I just waited a bit too long for the light.
Is what it is. It's one of those things.
A little bit earlier, yeah.
Yep. Well, it's hindsight is an exact science. Everything else is guesswork. As Leon van Wyk makes his way down the hill, and one of the most amazing parts of the circuit, through a Rouge, up over Radion, Onto the Kemmel Straight goes Leon van Wyk. But the battle royal right now is Peter van der Spy and JJ van der Merwe. JJ van der Merwe that just passed Peter van der Spy. Let's see exactly how that one played itself out. That's coming towards the very last corner, coming towards the chicane. They gave one another decent space. That's the gentlemanly kind of driving that we like to see. And that is where that passing maneuver actually took place. So brilliant piece of driving there by both of those gents. Peter van der Spy in battle royal right now, but Sandro Bakari is the man that's leading out on the Grand Masters as such. So from the top end down, Leon van Wyk 11 seconds back. He's broken away even further from Michael Steven. Michael Steven ahead of a brilliant driving Sandro Bakari. Then it is Robert Briggs. Timothy Stanton 3 down, but that's a massive drive by Timothy Stanton, getting back to that 5th position as the closing down on Robert Briggs as well. Robert Briggs that started in 4th. Timothy Stanton that started on the front row of the grid. Sandro Bakari, amazing, utterly amazing stuff. Not that far behind them, 6 seconds further back is in fact Stephen McCarthy. Stephen McCarthy is going to have an eyeball in the mirror because there comes JJ van der Merwe and Peter van der Spy. A very good drive by Gerald Maget. Johan Ferry working his way back up into a top 10 position, but it's the best that he's been able to recover so far. We are almost 23 minutes into this race, and I think that you're probably going to find that the next time that Leon van Wyk comes around, it's going to be for the checkered flag on a 2-minute 14 lap. I think it's either going to be the white or the checkered, one of the two. Johan Ferry on the back end of Gerald Maget. That's right on board with Johan Ferry. Gerald Maget that's doing a brilliant job at this stage of the fight. Johan Ferry, super duper quick, 2 minutes 13.89. That is even quicker. That is 1100s quicker than the fastest lap earlier on of Timothy Stanton. So Johan Ferry is going to be looking very, very good for the next race that we're going to have with the top 12. Invert gets good drive and starts closing up on the back end of Gerald Maget. Will Maget fight for that position with the Golf Ferrari? Nope, he's going to stay on that outside line. And looks like Johan Ferry will be able to do that braking maneuver, and he does get through. Timothy Stanton on the back end of Robert Briggs, and it's Sandro Bakari that's just in front of them. There's less than 1 minute to go. Let's go to the front end of the field. That is Leon van Wyk. I tend to think that when they come through, it's going to be for the checkered flag. I cannot see that they will go to the white on this one. Still a long way to go as he works his way through. Leon van Wyk, do you think you're on the last lap, or do you think you're going to get a white flag for once more round?
No, we're on the last lap, so this should be the line, I believe.
Well, Leon, take us through those last couple of corners as you live going down towards it.
Yeah. Make sure you don't sprint, which I just about did. Commentator's curse. And I made it. Luckily, I got a big enough gap, so no harm, no foul. And that should be over the finish line.
Leon van Wyk takes it across the finish line. The next man coming through is Michael Steven. They've closed right up on the back of Michael Steven. Michael Steven's going to make his way towards the line. Brilliant Sandro Bakari. Oh, getting the tail end out. Timothy Stanton trying to get the power down as quick as possible. He managed to stay ahead of the BMW of Robert Briggs. Then it's Stephen McCarthy, the next man that comes through. JJ van der Merwe. What a recovery just ahead of Peter van der Spy. And that ahead of Johan Ferry. Gerald Maget never gave up. He comes across the line. Johan Engelbrecht finds himself in that 11th position. Leonardo Bakari going to be coming towards the line now. He's trying to hold out on the Marlboro coloured car of Graham Stephen. He lets Graham Stephen up on the inside line. They make contact. Oh, and double contact between the two of them. And that'll be Leonardo Bakari that will beat out on Graham Stephen. Graham Stephen will be the next man coming towards the line. And then it will be Herman Lazarus. The next man coming through that will in fact be Yaz Samai. Here comes Yaz Samai, 15th overall. And then a bit of a gap after Yaz Samai back to Michael North. The last man's going to be coming across the line. Sergio Mafia was one lap down, and unfortunately we lost out on Willem Botha that went down 15 positions, so starting in 3rd position and dropping all the way down. JJ, that was a brilliant race. Take us through the highs and lows of race number 1.
The highs was pole position, the lows were turn 1, and obviously from there, catching up from, I think I was 15th, 14th, 15th, back to 7th. I can't complain. Hopefully the next one will be better.
A brilliant piece of racing, that, no doubt about it. That was really good stuff. Peter van der Spy, a little bit of a knock and bump there, but seeing the limited amount of time that you've had to actually practice due to ill health, I think it was a brilliant result. But let's give it to Sandro. Sandro was really on form in this one.
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah, Sandro was on it, eh? Jeez. Well, let's see how we do in the second race.
Well, folks, there you go. The voice of a Peter van der Spy. Stephen McCarthy, there and thereabouts all day long, no doubt about it. I think it was a brilliant drive by Stephen McCarthy as well. So let's have a look at the results there of race number 1 as we go into that warm-up. So the being IT entry of Leon van Wyk from Michael Stevens, Sandro Bakari leading out 3rd overall and winning out on the Grandmasters. Brilliant drive. Timothy Stanton starting on the front row of the grid, losing out and putting up the fastest lap time, apart from just before the end where we saw Johan Fourie putting up a quicker than a 2-minute 14.00. Robert Briggs, as always, in the top 5. Stephen McCarthy in the Sujin Racing entry, just 20 seconds off the front end of the pack. But then again, remember, half of that was the gap between Leon van Wyk and Michael Steven as well. So we're going to go into a 3-minute warm-up session, and then we're going to be returning with Johan Engelbrecht and Leonardo Bakari that will be on the front row of the grid. That's going to be pretty interesting to see how that one's going to play itself out, because Leonardo was actually doing very well. Then Johan Fourie and Gerald Maget. So Johan Fourie, the first of the big hitters, that is then going to be coming through with the likes of Peter van der Spy. So Peter van der Spy that will be starting, in fact, will be starting on the 2nd row of the grid on the restart. Peter van der Spy, serious amounts of pressure, starting alongside Johan Fourie, but a lot of big hitters in there behind you.
Yeah, listen, where am I actually? Where did I come in that first race?
You ended up 8th overall, so on the invert, the front row of the grid will be Leonardo and Johan. Then on the 2nd row is going to be Gerald and Johan Fourie, and then yourself alongside the man that qualified on the front row of the grid, JJ van der Merwe. But Peter coming from behind, you're going to have the likes of JJ, Stephen, Robert, Timothy, Sandro, Michael and Leon. Is this one of the circuits where it's much easier to not get involved in contact apart from corner number 1?
Well, I tell you, yeah, corner 1, I think, more so up at the top of that straight is a very tricky one for the overtaking, because you get a bit of a slipstream going up there, and then it's kind of like who takes the inside line and who gives you space. It's quite critical. Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting one. Yeah, I've got some really quick guys behind me, and but my main fight is with Sandro. So yeah, so I'll just try and stay ahead of them.
So Leonardo Bakari will be on the front row of the grid with Johan Engelbrecht. Then it'll be Gerald Maget and Johan Fourie, the first of the big hitters. The likes of Peter van der Spy will then be in with JJ van der Merwe. If you can follow Johan Fourie all the way through, then, well, probably you're heading towards the front end of the field. So that top 12, that is inverted. That's the way that it looks right now. There we can see further down Leon van Wyk and Michael Steven, that is starting 11th and 12th position. Graham Steven with them as well. So the two Stevens brothers going to be pretty close to one another when they come off the line. Let's hope that we get Willem Botha back onto the grid again, because I don't see Willem Botha having clicked in and onto the server yet. There they are all standing. So Johan Fourie, one of the first of the big hitters that's going to be coming off the line. Let's hope for everybody's sake that it all stays together. The calm before the storm, as they just about are ready to come off the line. Stephen McCarthy on that 4th row of the grid in that formation lap as they work their way around. Willem Botha has not rejoined, unfortunately. Willem Botha is either going to be starting from the pit lane or is not going to be in at all. Willem Botha, you didn't make it onto the starting grid. Are you going to be coming out of the pits and joining? Looks like we've lost Willem Botha. He's not going to be taking part in this second race at all. Let's see if we can maybe pick him up just before we go to the start there. Willem Botha, is there opportunity for you to still get into this race?
Got no idea.
Are you going to be starting off the pit lane? Because I don't see you on the warm-up lap.
I'm trying to get loaded in here. Get me out.
All right, there we go. So Willem Botha trying to get in, and he'll be coming off the back end of the pack. Let's go to the front end. Leonardo Boccari, probably the first time ever Leonardo Boccari has been in a pole position with the likes of Jan Engelbrecht there alongside him. That's going to be brilliant stuff. Leonardo Boccari and Jan Engelbrecht. Jan Engelbrecht's not going to give it away for anything. You got to believe it. Willem Botha still battling to get back into the server. And at best, he's going to be starting from the pit lane. Let's see how this one's going to play itself out. And he gets the hammer down, does Leonardo Boccari. Johan Engelbrecht in that second position. Then it's Gerald Maget. Johan Fourie trying to keep it nice and smooth. JJ van der Merwe sticks on that inside line. The Sujin Properties entry on the inside of Robert Briggs. It's Stephen McCarthy that's all over the back end of JJ van der Merwe. In there behind that is Robert Briggs and then Sandro Boccari. Behind Sandro Boccari is Timothy Stanton. He's got a long way to go. Leon van Wyk works his way through, down through the dip and up the other side he goes, trying to make the best of that slipstream as they go out into the Kemmel Straight. Everybody ducking and diving to see whatever they can add to what they've got. Gerald Maget holds on to that second. Johan Fourie tries to have a look on Briggs, and while he has a look on Briggs, it's Peter van der Spey that says, you run wider, I'll just dive through there. So Peter van der Spey on the roll. Peter van der Spey is having a good time. JJ sticks his nose into that inside line, tries to see if he can make a maneuver of some format from there. Gerald Maget is doing a brilliant job so far, but Leonardo Boccari, Gerald Maget, commentators curse, and Robert Briggs is going to get the runs at Jan Engelbrecht. Jan Engelbrecht is going to go up on the inside of Gerald Maget. Peter van der Spey is right in there as well. Peter van der Spey wants to get to the front end of the pack. He wants to get to Leonardo as quick as what he possibly can. Leonardo Boccari leading out from Johan Engelbrecht. Then it's Gerald Maget. Behind Gerald Maget is Peter van der Spey. Johan Fourie playing it safe, calm, not getting overexcited. He's got JJ directly in there behind him. Then it's Robert Briggs. Then it's Stephen McCarthy. Behind Stephen McCarthy, Sandro Boccari. Then it's Timothy Stanton. Timothy knows he's got to get a hoof on. Let's go on board with Timothy Stanton. Look at that line of cars in front of him. In there behind the high-flying Sandro Boccari. He knows that Boccari's got the ability to stay right at the front end of the field. But for now, a lot of the guys playing it safe, like Johan Fourie. Let's hope that everybody makes it. This is one of the top passing possibilities that you have, is this specific corner. Who's going to duck out of it? Yep, we got one into the pits. Robert Briggs climbs out of the melee. He does not want to be part of that lot at all. 2 minutes 16.214 from a rolling start. That is the fastest, but it's because Leonardo Boccari was at the front end of the field and there was nothing in front of him. He's right on board with Timothy Stanton. Stanton's right in there behind Sandro Boccari. Down towards Eau Rouge they go. Fifth gear, running it high in the revs. Clip the curbstone. Early turn in. Make sure you get as straight line as possible. Exactly like that. That's how you get to drive on the man in front of you. Now he's going to be coming right into the slipstream. Which way do they go? Maget dives out, and he's going to try and have a look at Johan Fourie, but that's not going to work from the outside line. Timothy Stanton is right in there as well. Timothy Stanton in behind Stephen McCarthy. Stephen McCarthy's right in behind Sandro Bakari. Now, they'll probably fancy that Sandro Bakari will be able to make a move on Peter van der Spey. So they will follow Sandro Bakari, expecting him to get to Peter. But at the rate that Peter van der Spey is going, he might even hold on to the back end of JJ. JJ is onto the back of Gerald Maget. So if JJ gets held up at all by Gerald Maget, he's going to have to keep an eye in the mirror. Whew. That is ton up as they work their way through that long left-hander, the double gaucher. The smallest gaps right now is JJ van der Merwe onto the back end of Gerald Maget. Gerald Maget sticks it smack back dead center on the racing line, runs it a bit wide, and carries as much pace as he can. He's not going to make it easy whatsoever, is Gerald Maget. At the same time, JJ van der Merwe sees slowly but surely Johan Fourie is getting away. Johan Fourie up into that third position. And Gerald Maget is on the right line for the last corner, but he is now behind JJ. And it looks like Timothy Stanton having a look around on that outside line from Sandro Bakari as they work their way down towards turn number 1. It's Johan Engelbrecht that leads out. Brilliant drive. Then it's Leonardo Bakari. Johan Fourie has a look for that outside line. Can he make that one stick? He'll do the proverbial cutback. He hasn't got through there yet. He'll dive out now. Let's ride with Johan Fourie as he works his way down towards Eau Rouge. He doesn't have the line yet. He doesn't have the line. Oh, he backs out of it. Johan Fourie backs out of it. He knows Leonardo Bakari ain't going to back out. He's got nothing to lose. JJ van der Merwe, Gerald Maget. There comes Timothy Stanton. Leon van Wyk. In behind Leon van Wyk is Graham Stephen. Behind Graham Stephen is Yas Samai. Big gap back then to Michael North. Behind Michael North is Sergio Mafia. He's gone up 6 positions, but remember, a lot of those other guys have probably been in and out of the pits. There we go. So Robert Briggs is the leading man that has been in and out of the pits so far. I see a whole bunch of smoke there. Somebody had spun themselves out. I think that could have been Yas Samai. Yep, I think it was Yas Samai that spun himself out. Johan Fourie's onto the back of Leonardo Bakari still. Oh, Timothy Stanton we see there in the background, kicking up a whole bunch of dust, and Leonardo Bakari is having a drive of his life. He's got the multiple South African V8 main circuit champion that's trying to get past him. He'll hold onto that left-hand lane because that's where he needs to be for the next corner. But Johan Fourie is coming under pressure now. He's got JJ van der Merwe behind him. Johan Fourie knows JJ will be very aware of the fact that he's got to go for the passing. Oh, there Johan Fourie goes through. Johan Fourie goes through, and JJ is going to try and go through there as well. Leonardo's not giving that one away. They're so close. Let's hope that nobody goes off. JJ's going to try and have a look right around the outside. Leonardo had the drag initially from the back end of Johan Fourie's car, and JJ van der Merwe is going to try and go right around the outside of Johan Fourie. Late on the brakes, decides to do a Johan Fourie on Johan Fourie, backs out of it on the last, make sure that there's no contact. Leonardo Bakari staying then ahead at this stage of the fight of Gerald Maget, that is acquitting himself exceptionally well, but never count out the man that's just done the fastest lap, and that is in fact Leon van Wyk. Timothy Stanton had to do an evasive maneuver to dive out there from behind him because he was pretty late on the brakes. Timothy Stanton trying to make up some positions. Let's have a look at the initial gains and the losses. Leonardo Bakari that started in pole is only dropped down 3 positions as Leonardo Bakari. That's a brilliant piece of driving by Leonardo. It's not entirely embarrassing to be passed by a man like Johan Fourie. And right now, JJ van der Merwe has gotten past Johan Fourie. That is amazing stuff. Let's see JJ van der Merwe passing Johan Fourie. Let's see exactly how that one played itself out. JJ van der Merwe. It all looked quite fine at that stage of the fight. It was all about Johan Fourie. And then later on, JJ van der Merwe, as they came onto the Kemmel Straight, dived out after getting good drive onto the outside line. Johan Fourie tries to get a bit of a drag, wanting to have a look on the inside as they go into Lake Calm, backs out of it and realizes the Fanatec entry in the hands of JJ van der Merwe, the leading Ford that he is all over the curbstone. He is very, very quick. This is probably the drive of his life, JJ van der Merwe, getting around Johan Fourie. But Johan Engelbrecht has had no problems. He has just concentrated on what matters, and Johan Fourie, while everybody's battling it out behind him, has just kept it nice and smooth. Let's not have a commentator's curse right now on Johan Engelbrecht. He's kept it nice and smooth, and he says, you guys fight it out. You come and fetch me. JJ van der Merwe ahead of Johan Fourie. Leonardo Bakari from Gerald Maget that's having a look up on the inside. Can Gerald Maget make that stick? He climbs all over the curbstones. They unfortunately do make contact. Leon van Wyk involved with that one as well. Gerald Maget is going to go into the pit lane. I saw Timothy Stanton going through there as well. He's got a South African flag on top of the roof. Timothy Stanton in there behind Leonardo Bakari. The two of them in behind Leon van Wyk. Now, Leonardo Bakari would normally not be on the same pace as the likes of Timothy Stanton. Leonardo Bakari is having a brilliant session. Oh, look at this. Timothy Stanton not backing out whatsoever. And now he's going to try and get the drag on the back end of Leonardo. But Leonardo's got a big enough gap. Leonardo has got a big enough gap. Johan Fourie on the back of JJ van der Merwe. It's payback time. Johan Fourie is not going to give that monster car the opportunity to sit behind the Fanatec entry. He wants past JJ van der Merwe. JJ van der Merwe needs to chase down Johan Engelbrecht, and looking up on the inside is Johan Fourie. Now it's going to be the left-hander. It will go back in the hands of JJ. Is it the classic comeback? Down the hill they're going to go, down towards campus. And Johan Fourie is going to try and have a look up on the inside. They will make a light contact. Oh, and unfortunately, that's JJ van der Merwe. After the contact, he's going to have to now. Oh, and this car's coming. So, Timothy Stanton survives the gauntlet and makes it through. And there comes Stephen behind that in the Marlboro car. So, JJ van der Merwe drops down a long way after that amazing drive that he had at that stage of the fight. Let's see who's been in and out of the pits. The leading man in and out of the pits is in fact Robert Briggs, and once again we have early in and out of the pits by Peter van der Spy that finds himself ahead of Sandro Bakari. That's where the real fight is for Peter van der Spy. There's Peter van der Spy, there is Sandro Bakari, there is Michael Stephen in the plain black directly behind that. Love that back wing, the way that it goes out behind the car and then puts that massive, look at that wing situated on that motor car. Everything to get all that power down onto the circuit. JJ van der Merwe and Graham Stephen are pretty close. It's JJ van der Merwe that's not going to get stuck. JJ into the pits. Now, JJ coming into the pits. Where is Robert Briggs? There comes Robert Briggs. Robert Briggs is going to come past. JJ into the pit lane. Robert Briggs come past. Here comes Peter van der Spy. Peter van der Spy has been in the pits as well. What about Sandro Bakari? Sandro Bakari coming through. So JJ is dropping down the who has stopped leaderboard. There you see JJ that's in the pits at the moment. There he stands over there, and the next man, well, he's on his way out of the pits now. The next man is, Herman Lazarus was trying just a little bit too hard on the last corner, and that means that JJ will come out ahead of Herman Lazarus. Michael Stephen onto the back end of Sandro Bakari. Robert Briggs, Peter van der Spy, Sandro Bakari, and then Michael Stephen. I think Sandro Bakari is going to lose out on that one to Michael Stephen. Michael Stephen pops up on the inside line. But keep in mind that Sandro Bakari needs to be able to move one further forward, because There's Michael Steven that's in front of him, and then in front of Michael Steven is the man that really matters, and that is that man. That is Peter van der Spy for the Grand Masters title. Oh, Peter van der Spy putting the wheels on the dirt and trying everything he can to put some fast laps in. He finds himself in second position overall of those that have been in and out of the pits. But Johan Engelbrecht has done everything perfectly. He's halfway through the race. He started at the front, and he's still at the front. And in fact, Johan Fourie has also not been into the pits, has not been able to catch Johan Engelbrecht yet. I think we must have a look at the last lap. Oh, now he goes into the pits goes Johan Engelbrecht, so we won't be able to see what his time was. At 2 minute 14.7 was the last lap that he actually did before that. And Leon van Wyk finds himself 10 positions up. But remember, Leon van Wyk has not been in and out of the pits yet. And Graham Stephen is probably going to come past. There comes Graham Stephen. He comes past. Sandro Bakari is still in that massive battle with Michael Stephen. So Robert Briggs is in fact the lead man that has been in and out of the pits. After Robert Briggs, it's Johan Engelbrecht. Johan Engelbrecht, amazing. Utterly amazing. Leonardo Bakari, I think, is the man of the moment for race number 1. And at this stage of the fight, you've got to give it to Johan Engelbrecht on present form, as Sandro Bakari tries to hold on to the slipstream of Michael Stephen. Timothy Stanton up into that third position overall, out on track in there behind Leon. He's just a little bit too far back with the Stanton machine to get into the slipstream of Leon van Wyk. Just 1.1 seconds. You've got to be from when I went into the practice section, it looked like you need to be about 0.6 is the max that you can be behind somebody for all in the likes of the Kemmel Straight to be able to pick up any worthwhile kind of tow. From about 0.4 of a second, that's when it really starts to happen. But the man that's at the front end of the field has not been into the pits yet is Johan Fourie. Let's see where exactly he is out on circuit right now. There is Johan Fourie, and there's no real reason for Johan Fourie to come into the pits at this stage of the fight, because it's 10.5 seconds between Johan Fourie and Willem Botha, and having the size pit or stop window that there is no reason for Johan Fourie to now go in and then come out in traffic. So I personally don't think Johan Fourie is going to go into the pits yet, unless he needs fuel. And into the pits goes Johan Fourie. What does Leon van Wyk do? Oh, Leon van Wyk tries to get in there as quick as possible. Timothy Stanton right in there behind him. What about Leonardo Bakari? Leonardo Bakari is going to go in as well. The pit window is obviously there. There is Graham Stephen. Now, this is the man that's been in and out of the pits already. Robert Briggs. Is this going to be a possible win for Robert Briggs? Where is Johan Fourie? He's still standing. Timothy Stanton still standing. Leon van Wyk is still standing. Robert Briggs comes past him. Robert Briggs is going to be the lead man who is on his way out of the pits. It's going to be Johan Fourie and Robert Briggs side by side. Johan Fourie and Robert Briggs, and Robert Briggs is going to be at the front. Robert Briggs from Johan Fourie. Johan Engelbrecht, brilliant. Johan Engelbrecht finds himself ahead of Leon van Wyk, Peter van der Spy, Timothy Stanton all over the back end of Peter van der Spy. Then there comes Michael Stephen. Behind that is Sandro Bakari. So Peter van der Spy, it's working for him right now. Robert Briggs is in for the battle of his life. Let's just go back a little bit further to that battle of Timothy Stanton. Timothy Stanton, Peter van der Spy. Closing the line off was Leon van Wyk from Timothy Stanton. Peter van der Spy directly in there behind that. JJ van der Merwe has just passed Stephen McCarthy. Let's see how that one played itself out. That's purely a case of using the slipstream to your advantage and making sure that you're in the right place at the right time. And look at that whole gaggle of cars. Leon van Wyk going one-on-one. Peter van der Spy in there behind him. Timothy Stanton just in front of him. Behind that is Michael Stephen. You're not going to shake Michael Stephen away from this grouping either. Oh, up on the inside goes Leon van Wyk, and he's going to be on the outside line now. Leon van Wyk and Timothy Stanton. Leon van Wyk gets past Timothy Stanton. Timothy Stanton's now got Pieter van der Spey all over his back bumper. So Leon van Wyk's trying to work his way towards the front end of the field, but Leon van Wyk is 4 seconds off the back end of an amazing drive by Johan Engelbrecht. He started at the front and he's done it all right. Michael Stephen finds himself behind that big pack of cars. Let's have a look how that one looks from on board. It's utterly brilliant to see how close they are to one another. Spa-Francorchamps, I did say I believe this is going to be an amazing race, and it's exactly what it has turned out. 18.5 of the 25 minutes that has gone, as we keep an eye on Michael Stephen closing up under braking onto the back end of Pieter van der Spey, who's in there behind Timothy Stanton. Timothy Stanton got a hold on to the back end of Leon van Wyk. If Leon van Wyk can go and fetch Johan Engelbrecht, Timothy Stanton needs to be in that slipstream to go with him, as we watch Leon van Wyk as he works his way out into the Kemmel Straight. And look at the drive from Timothy Stanton. Thank heavens the trees aren't that long towards the end of the straight. And Timothy Stanton gets a brilliant drive and he goes up that one position. Can you believe it? Timothy Stanton passing Leon van Wyk, and Pieter van der Spey is in there as well. Pieter van der Spey is not being lost out. But remember, Pieter van der Spey's got Michael Stephen directly behind him, and then Sandro Bakari. That's what it's all about. In the meantime, Robert Briggs is driving the race of his life. He's staying ahead of the highly acclaimed Johan Fourie, South African main circuit multiple champion. Johan Engelbrecht, utterly brilliant. Utterly brilliant. Wow, what a pity we don't see him anymore on Killarney International Raceway. Here comes Timothy Stanton, having got past Leon van Wyk, Pieter van der Spey and Michael Stevens. Sandro Bakari closing up slowly but surely on the back end of that group as well. Let's just have a look at the last lap times. As Sandro Bakari quick enough at 2 minute 14.6. Michael Stephen 2 minute 15. 2 minute 16 by Peter. Sandro Bakari is on the move. Sandro Bakari is one of the quickest guys out there, but while that is on the go, Robert Briggs is still fighting for his life. Robert Briggs has got to close off that inside line. If he doesn't close off that inside line, Johan Fourie will come up on the inside like that. Johan Fourie comes through on Robert Briggs. Can Robert Briggs hold on to the back of him? Well, if Johan Fourie just keeps on doing exactly what he does best, smooth, consistent and straight, he will stay at the front end of the field. Johan Engelbrecht has got that whole pack coming from behind. Timothy Stanton at 2 minute 13, at 2 minute 14.5. Oh, Johan Engelbrecht's going to have to move it up. He's going to have to hoof it up. Remember the last lap, Timothy Stanton would have been quicker because of the slipstream that he got on Leon van Wyk. But can he carry that kind of lap times through to be able to go and fetch Johan Engelbrecht? Now, hey, no disrespect to Timothy Stanton, but Johan Engelbrecht, man, if he can pick up a third, I think he himself will be utterly ecstatic. He's got 2 minutes and 40 seconds, 3 minutes and 40 seconds that he's got to survive the high-flying Timothy Stanton, who got past Leon van Wyk in that being IT entry. Pieter van der Spey, utterly brilliant, using the curbstones and more, keeping Michael Stephen behind him as a buffer back towards Sandro Bakari. It's managed to stay ahead of Stephen McCarthy. A disappointment for JJ van der Merwe. That is not where he wants to be right now, that is for sure. He would expect to be a whole bunch further forward than that. The times is ticking away. Michael Stevens very close to the back end of Pieter van der Spey. Michael Stevens just does not have an answer for Pieter van der Spey. Where he admitted himself he has not had a lot of time to be able to practice before this event, but he is taken like a duck to water. Leon van Wyk holding on to the back end of Timothy Stanton. Timothy got past him but can't get away from him. Johan Engelbrecht holding on. Johan Engelbrecht 1.5 seconds ahead of Timothy. Can Timothy Stanton close down while he holds off the likes of Leon van Wyk? If Leon starts to have a dive on Timothy Stanton, if he can get close enough to Timothy, that will be the lifeline that's required by Johan Engelbrecht. Pretty sure you'll find that the laps they've just done now, Johan Engelbrecht's going to fall probably about 0.7 or 0.8 short of Timothy Stanton, if not slightly more. 14.3, 14.9. Johan Engelbrecht at 2 minute 15, at 2 minute 14.01, 0.7 of a second. That is the difference there. Timothy Stanton onto the back end of Johan Engelbrecht, but Leon van Wyk could be the savior for Johan Engelbrecht. 23 minutes 14, so less than 2 minutes to go. So probably this is going to be the last lap as we keep an eye on Leon van Wyk. Peter van der Spy just behind that. Peter van der Spy is having a look at a passing maneuver on Michael Steven. He doesn't have to do it because he's got enough space between himself and Sandro Bakari. As Timothy Stanton's closing now on Johan Engelbrecht. Hold thumbs for Johan Engelbrecht. He deserves this one. Johan Engelbrecht is riding the socks off that motorcar. Johan Engelbrecht is doing everything he needs to, and here comes, it's not Tiny Tim, it's Big Tim that's in there behind him, followed through by the being IT entry of Leon van Wyk. This could be the last time that they come around, probably given 24 minutes and 10 seconds. This could be the last lap. Johan Fourie, the man that's leading out pretty neatly at the front end of the field. There is Johan Fourie. Got ahead of Robert Briggs. Brilliant drive by Robert Briggs to hold out on Johan Fourie for so long. But I think this is probably going to be the last couple of corners for Johan Fourie. I can't see that changing much as Johan Fourie comes through the last little section. Leon van Wyk all over the back end of Timothy Stanton. Timothy Stanton on Johan Engelbrecht. Johan Engelbrecht's going to have to stay on that line. Johan Engelbrecht's got to stay on that line, because if he does not, it's going to be going all in the wrong direction. It's going to be checkered flag time. It's going to be checkered flag for Johan Fourie. Comes across the line. Behind that is Robert Briggs. Brilliant drive, Johan Fourie. Awesome drive, Robert Briggs. Timothy Stanton, amazing stuff. Leon, utterly brilliant. Johan Engelbrecht, wow, what a drive of his best. Michael Steven, Peter van der Spy comes through ahead of Sandro Bakari. He'll be pretty chuffed with that one. Stephen McCarthy ahead of JJ van der Merwe. Next man to come through there will in fact be Graham Steven. Here comes Leonardo Bakari. He's had a very interesting day today, has Leonardo Bakari, as he comes across the line. Still to come through is Herman Lazarus in the Ferrari. You see the Authentic Autos sign writing on the sign of that motorcar. That is Herman Lazarus that comes through. Then our pretty much new guy Michael North in one of the BMWs finds himself notably ahead of Sergio Mafia as Michael North comes across the line. Sergio Mafia, here he comes. He likes those Ferrari colors, Alitalia. And that just ahead of Gerald Murray, that also had a brilliant time out there. The only man still to come across the line is Willem Botha, and a terrible day for Willem Botha. Not what Willem Botha needed whatsoever. Battle to get into the server did Willem, and he's now the last man that comes up towards the line. That's the best that he could get out of the Gazoo Racing colored BMW as Willem Botha comes up and crosses the line. That'll be the last man to come through. You'll be somewhat disappointed with that, I'm pretty sure. So remember, race number 1, Leon from Michael, Sandro, Timothy and Robert. Let's have a look at the results of that feature race. Johan Fourie from Robert, once again, Timothy, Leon and Johan Engelbrecht. So let's have a look at this overall. Heat number 1, Leon van Wyk, brilliant. 10 seconds on Michael Stevens. Sandro Bakari, utterly amazing to do what he did there. I think that was a really brilliant drive that he managed to put together there. So Leon van Wyk in the Being IT in race number 1, 10 seconds ahead of everybody else, including likes of Michael Stevens, Sandro Bakari, third overall out there on circuit, and winning out in the Grandmasters ahead of Peter van Spey that came through 8th in overall and a 2nd overall in class. Timothy Stanton, as always, in the top 5. Robert Briggs back in the form that we're accustomed to seeing. Stephen McCarthy edging once again closer and closer into that top 5 where the action really is. Johan Fourie that had that earlier incident that ended up in 9th with Gerald Maget that rounded that one out, and then going into the feature race, Johan Fourie doing what he did best. Brilliant drive by Robert Briggs to actually hold out for so long on Johan Fourie. Timothy Stanton in the Stanton Racing team, amazing stuff. Leon van Wyk always there and thereabouts. Probably got to give driver of the second race to Johan Engelbrecht. Started at the front end of the field, made everybody fight very, very hard to come through, and he even stayed ahead of the likes of Michael Stephen, Peter van der Spey, Sandro Bakari. So Peter van der Spey beating out on Sandro Bakari in race number 2 for that one. So I think that was utterly brilliant. Stephen McCarthy, finding yourself pretty much in the mid-pack, but what an amazing circuit to be able to race on. And a couple of gentlemanly maneuvers as the guys passed one another, making sure as far as possible, apart from turn number 1, to take one another out.
Yeah, Gary, the second heat was a lot cleaner. I managed to dodge some contact in the first heat, but I think the drivers are all quite respectful of each other. But yeah, there's certain corners on this track that do lend itself to contact, like turn 1.
Turn 1. Turn 1 seems to be the place, unfortunately, where it all happens. Leon picking up a 4th overall in the second race. Obviously, the first race was the one that you loved the most, winning that. So 1st and a 4th at Spa-Francorchamps in GTE. That must lift you nicely in the point standings overall.
Absolutely. I think I enjoyed the second race far more action, far more fighting. I'm happy with my 4th. It was nearly a 3rd, but Tim did a stellar drive at the end there, so just couldn't get it.
Fantastic stuff. Overall driver of the day. There's a lot of people that we expect to see at the front, but I think driver of the day today has got to go to none other than Johan Engelbrecht overall. I think that race 2 of his was his best ever. And also kudos to the likes of JJ and Timothy Stanton managing to be the 2 fastest qualifiers for race number 1. Well, folks, that wraps it up for today. That was round number 5, season number 12, GTEs from Spa-Francorchamps. We'll be back with you next week, same time, when we go to round number 6 of season number 12. Thanks very much for joining us. Gary Gazer was with you, Mike Side, Second Gear Productions. Thanks for joining. See you next week, same time. Cheers, everybody.